Two-state solution?
Absolutely 100% a two-state solution, and that is the Labour Party's position. It has been for a long time and it will remain. And just before I came on the show, I think I saw the government also saying that this is what we want, a two-state solution. And we have been watching, obviously, the tragedy unfolding and the loss of civilian lives. And we want this conflict to come to an end. And for it to come to an end, at the end, there's got to be a two-state solution between the two countries. And we will not be moving from that position.
So how does that conversation go with Israel then?
It's something that we can call for. It's something that international partners can call for. Obviously, the government will be calling for it. The opposition will be calling for it. If there is an election and we are fortunate enough to form the next government, we will also be calling for it. All we can do is call for it, obviously, and ask Israel to comply with international law. And Israel needs to listen to the fact that they don't have a blank check. There's been stark warning coming from international partners like the UN. They need to take notice of that. And we're joining in saying to them they don't have a blank check. They do have a right to defend themselves, but they need to comply with international law.
OK. Talk to me about Mark Drakesford, the leader of the Welsh Labour Party, who has decided to step down. I think I'm right in saying that he lost his good lady quite recently, didn't he? A word for him?
Just to say that he provided years and years of public service. Some of the tributes to him have been genuinely so lovely when you're reading them. I think he was a very humble, quiet man who just went about his work, and he wasn't one of those politicians who have a huge ego. You know, Kay, there's lots of politicians like that. He just wasn't like that.
I can't think of any of them.
I won't name any. Just to say, I think he just went about his business, did a very good job, but provided such a service for the people who he served, and I just think he'll be a huge loss.
What impact will it have for you as a party going into the next election?
I think we need to start quite soon the leadership process to find his replacement and make sure that it's smooth. I think the impact will be if we can have a quick process to replace him, then hopefully they can just build on his legacy.
OK. Talk to me about the triple lock when we're talking about pensions. I was reading this morning that the Institute for Fiscal Studies urging reform of the triple lock system on state pensions, they say, to protect public finances. What about protecting pensioners?
Yeah, so I think we have to look at what the IFS said. I looked at it as well and look at a bit more detail about why they're suggesting this. Our top priority, obviously, is to protect pensioners. But why they've suddenly said this, I don't know if you have more detail on it, but I just caught the headline. We'll obviously look at the figures, but our position hasn't changed at this point.
Well, they basically are saying that it was actually in the FT yesterday, and it was brought to my attention this morning. And the point is that basically we can't afford it.
Well, I think we'll have to see. Like, if we are in government and the economy, it depends on, obviously, inflation rates, what interest rates are like, what the situation we inherit. We would like to protect it if we can, but it's hard to commit at this stage without looking at the figures.
If we can, so you'll look at it. You're not going into the next election saying, absolutely, the triple lock is safe with us.
It is, I mean, it is safe with us, but we would look at what the IFS is saying. It is safe for now.
For now.
Well, you're really picking on my words.
It is safe. That's my job.
It's safe. It's absolutely safe for us. I just want to see what the IFS is saying and see a bit more detail. I don't know if you have any more detail. I just caught the headline of it.
As I said, it's basically to try to save money.
Save money. I mean, I think we would try and save money elsewhere in terms of we've looked at a lot of underspend and how money isn't being spent efficiently. So I think we would look at that first.
The reason I'm pressing you is that a lot of our viewers are pensioners, and it would impact on them.
We've committed to the triple lock.
Thank you. You're saying this morning that 170,000 people coming off a fixed-rate mortgage this month will be hit with higher bills, obviously, and we're seeing the inflation figures, interest rates, I think, at lunchtime today.
Yeah. So we've looked at the figures. There's 170,000 people who will come off their fixed-rate mortgage in Christmas. So it's in December this year. That means they'll face between a £220 to £240 increase every month when it comes to paying their mortgage. We're very worried about this because we feel like there is a cost of living crisis. People are struggling anyway, then it's Christmas, and they're having to pay more. So we're asking the government to get a grip and do something about the cost of living crisis.
They've brought down inflation by half.
I think it's interesting that when inflation was high, they tried to blame it on external figures and said we had nothing to do with it. Now that it's come down, they're saying that it's all our credit. They can't have it both
They didn't actually
ways.
say that, but basically they've said that it's not all down to them, but that you must give them some credit for it, no?
I think if you were in the finance bill yesterday when I was in the chamber, and the speeches that were coming from the government about how essentially it sounded like the cost of living crisis is over, which it is not. Like, people are genuinely making the difference between eating and putting on the heating in my constituency, to talk about the fact that everything's fine now, the economy's growing. There's no growth in the economy. Figures that came out this year in October said that there's no growth in the economy. So for them to pretend that everything is okay is just absolutely wrong, and they should take responsibility.
It's good to see you as always. Have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for taking the time.